The day my daughter turned 8 was the day I decided my family no longer deserved a place in my life. My name's Caleb. I'm 36, a single dad, and I own a mid-range but well-loved Italian restaurant in our small city. It's not some five-star downtown spot, but it's mine. Built from the ground up, one plate of gnocchi and one spilled glass of wine at a time. It's been my pride for nearly a decade now, second only to my daughter, Lily. Lily is the kind of kid that makes people do a double take. Big brown eyes, gentle smile, and a laugh that always escapes before she can finish the joke. She's thoughtful in a way most adults aren't. Writes little thank you notes on sticky pads. Puts them in my apron pocket. She's been doing it since she learned how to write. Anyway, I got full custody when she was 5. Her mom, Samantha, wasn't built for motherhood. She wanted to chase her dream of becoming a travel vlogger, which somehow meant dropping Lily off and not looking back. It hurt at first. I won't pretend it didn't. But it also brought something strangely grounding. With just the two of us, every win felt bigger. Every birthday, every tooth lost, every macaroni drawing stuck to the fridge, it all meant more. Now, my side of the family. That's where the cracks begin to show. I have an older sister, Vanessa. She's 38. Used to be my best friend when we were kids, climbed trees together, got matching scrapes on our knees. But somewhere along the line, things shifted. Maybe it was when I got the restaurant going, and she was still working reception at a dermatology clinic. Or maybe it was Lily herself. Vanessa has no kids, but she always acted like that was her choice, and everyone else was somehow less mature for building a family. She and her husband, Grant, made decent money. They lived in a house twice the size of mine. No mortgage, no kids, just Pilates, avocado toast, and long weekends in wine country. And somehow, they always managed to make me feel like I was the one barely scraping by. Still, I tried to keep things civil, especially for Lily's sake. Every year, I invited them to her birthday, along with my parents, my cousins, even a few aunts and uncles. And every year, I got a variation of the same message. Can't make it, but send hugs. Or, we're out of town that weekend, sorry. I swallowed the disappointment. I told myself people get busy. That maybe next year would be different. But this year was supposed to be special. Lily had picked a tea party theme. She made hand-drawn invites, decorated them herself with glitter glue and little stickers. She wore this soft pink tulle dress we'd picked out together and insisted on setting the table herself. She even arranged sugar cubes into tiny pyramids, like real fancy people do. She waited by the door for 2 hours. Just sat there. Every time a car slowed down, she'd pop up and smooth her dress. Smile pressed on her face like she didn't want me to see it faltering. And I kept checking my phone, trying to find the words to explain why nobody was walking through the door. Eventually, she stopped asking if they were still coming. I pulled out her favorite strawberry shortcake. We lit candles. She smiled for the camera, but it didn't reach her eyes. Later that night, I tucked her into bed and she asked in the smallest voice, "Did I do something wrong?" And I swear, my heart broke in a way it never had before. Not even when Samantha walked out. I kissed her forehead, told her no, told her she was perfect. But when I went downstairs, I just sat there, staring at all those untouched paper cups, all the unused plates, and the banner that said "Happy Birthday, Lily," like it was mocking me. I didn't say anything to the family. I didn't send angry texts. I didn't post passive-aggressive photos. I just went quiet. Exactly 1 week later, Vanessa sent a mass text to the whole family. Emma's engagement dinner, $1,800 per head. Formal attire. Venmo link below. RSVP ASAP. No apology. No mention of Lily's birthday. Not a single acknowledgement that she'd missed it, or that she'd missed every single one before that. Emma is our cousin. Sweet girl. 26, getting married to some finance bro she met at a spin class. Whatever. I wasn't mad at Emma. But the fact that Vanessa had the audacity to send that message like nothing had happened, like my daughter sitting alone in her birthday dress was nothing more than a skipped errand, that should have been enough. But then came the second message. Booked at your restaurant. Already paid. Please close for the day. We want it private. That was the moment something inside me shifted. She didn't ask. She didn't even check if the place was available. She just assumed she could buy out the restaurant like it was some hotel room, and that I'd just roll over and accommodate it. I stared at the message for a full minute. Thought about Lily sitting by the door with her little hands folded in her lap. Thought about that fake smile. The sugar cubes. The pink dress. My jaw tightened. I typed one word. Declined. No explanation. No follow-up. Just that. 2 hours later, Vanessa walked into the restaurant, heels clicking like gunshots on the tile. My afternoon crowd was winding down, just a few late lunchers sipping espresso, and I was behind the counter restocking the pastry display when I heard the door bang open. There you are, she snapped, marching straight to me like a storm in a silk blouse. What do you mean by declined? I didn't flinch, just looked at her. Exactly what it sounds like. She blinked, as if stunned I hadn't immediately caved. We paid. It's already transferred. I shrugged. I refunded it. You can't do that. It's non-refundable. Not when you never booked it through the official channel. No contract, no reservation. You texted. That's not how it works. She huffed, actually stamped her foot like a kid denied candy. This is a family event, Caleb. For Emma. You're being petty. I felt something in my chest flare. You want to talk about petty? My daughter waited in a birthday dress for 3 hours. No call. No message. And now you expect me to close shop for your engagement party like nothing happened? Vanessa's expression flickered. For a split second, something like guilt passed through. Then it was gone. Don't be dramatic. It's not like it was on purpose. Things happen. Things always happen when it comes to Lily. She folded her arms. So what? This is your way of getting revenge. I didn't say anything. I didn't have to. The silence spoke louder than any words. Her voice rose. You're punishing everyone over one silly day? No, I said evenly. I'm holding people accountable. She opened her mouth again, but I turned and walked away, leaving her standing there in the middle of the lobby, furious and sputtering. My staff watched the whole thing in stunned silence. And that was just the beginning. Because Vanessa wasn't going to let this go. Not quietly. She had no idea who she was dealing with. And neither did the rest of the family. The thing about family drama is, it never explodes all at once. It builds. Quietly. It simmers under the surface like a pot on low heat. You think you've got time. You think maybe it'll cool off before it boils over. But it never does. After Vanessa stormed out of the restaurant, I figured I'd made my point. She'd overstepped. I pushed back. That should have been the end of it, right? It wasn't. The silence was deafening at first. No apology. No check-in. Not even a hey, what happened at the restaurant, from my parents. Just a quiet group effort to pretend none of it had occurred. I thought maybe they were embarrassed. Maybe they just didn't want to take sides. But then I saw the Instagram posts. Emma's engagement dinner had gone ahead. Just not at my restaurant. They'd booked a sleek little rooftop spot across town. White drapes, twinkle lights, charcuterie boards shaped like hearts. All of it captioned with things like, when family comes together, magic happens, and wouldn't have been possible without our amazing Vanessa. And the kicker? Emma tagged me in one of the photos. I stared at my phone for a long time. Just stared. Lily was beside me on the couch, practicing her cursive with a sparkly pink pencil. She leaned her head against my arm like she always does when she senses I'm upset. I didn't say anything. Just locked the phone and set it face down. The next week, I got a voicemail from my mom. Hi, sweetheart. Listen, I hope you're not still upset. Vanessa told us about the mix-up. It's just been such a hectic time for everyone. And I know Lily's birthday meant a lot, but we can't dwell on every little thing. Okay. Anyway, don't forget, the family beach trip is next month. We're renting the usual place. You and Lily should definitely come. Love you. Every little thing. That stuck with me. It was never we're sorry. Never we should have been there. Just a gentle push to let it go. Move on. Show up for the next family photo on the beach like nothing ever happened. My family had this way of smoothing over their mistakes with soft words and big smiles. If you brought up the past, you were dramatic. If you asked for accountability, you were being negative. But for Lily, I agreed to go. Not because I wanted to. Because she deserved to feel included. She talked about it for days. She remembered the sandcastle contest from last year. The late-night Esmo race. The time she saw a crab and screamed so loud the whole boardwalk stared. She asked if her cousins would be there. I didn't have the heart to tell her those same cousins didn't even text her happy birthday. The beach house was a massive 2-story rental near the dunes. All white paneling and wide decks. When we arrived, Vanessa and Grant were already there, drinks in hand, sunglasses on, looking like a magazine ad. My parents were seated in those striped folding chairs they always bring, and a few other relatives were gathered around the grill, laughing at some inside joke I was never part of. Lily ran ahead, a blur of pink shorts and bare feet, calling out greetings. She didn't notice the way some of them only half-waved back. I followed with our bags, forced a smile, and told myself to get through the weekend. That night, we did hot dogs and burgers. The kids watched a movie upstairs while the adults played cards on the porch. I stayed mostly quiet, just listened. And that's when I started noticing things. The way Vanessa steered every conversation back to herself. The way my parents nodded along, proud of her stories, but barely asked me a single question. At one point, she brought up her work gala, and my mom clapped her hands and said, "We're so proud of you, honey. You really have your life together." That stung more than I wanted it to. The next day, I took Lily out for ice cream, just the two of us. We walked the boardwalk, got sticky hands, watched some street performer do magic tricks. I let her get a second scoop. She was glowing. When we got back, everyone was gathered on the deck. Vanessa stood in the center, beaming. She held up a small velvet box and announced, "Grant and I have news." People started clapping before she even opened it. She pulled out a tiny white pair of baby shoes. My stomach dropped. "I'm pregnant," she said. Finally, there was a chorus of cheers. My mom actually teared up. My dad hugged her like she'd just won the lottery. It was like the air itself shifted. Suddenly, she was the golden child again, but now with a future grandbaby to seal the deal. And me? I was invisible. I don't know what I expected. Maybe some acknowledgement that Lily existed, that their other grandchild was standing right there, holding my hand. But all I got was a side glance and a weak, "Oh, and of course Lily will be a great cousin." The rest of the evening was a blur. They toasted to Vanessa. They made plans for the baby shower. My mom started rambling about nursery colors. My dad offered to help renovate the guest room into a nursery. No one even asked Lily if she wanted more juice. That night, I sat alone on the balcony after everyone went to bed. Lily was asleep beside me, curled under a blanket, her cheeks sunburnt and her lips slightly sticky from marshmallows. I watched the waves in silence, and I made a decision. I wasn't going to let them keep doing this to her. Not again. Not for the next birthday. Not for the next family trip. I was done playing nice. But the real breaking point? That came the following morning. We'd agreed to take a big group photo on the beach. Vanessa insisted on it. Everyone dressed in coordinated whites and blues. Lily wore her favorite sundress, yellow with little daisies. I told her she looked like sunshine. As we all gathered near the dunes, a photographer my uncle hired started directing us. "Okay, let's do a big family shot first. Parents, siblings, kids, all of you." We arranged ourselves. I stood with Lily in front of me, my hands on her shoulders. And then Vanessa stepped in. "Actually, can we just get the immediate family for this one first? Like, Mom, Dad, me, Grant. You know, blood family." She said it so casually, like it didn't mean anything, like it was just for symmetry. I stared at her. Then I looked at my mom, and she looked away. No one said anything. The photographer hesitated. Sure. Whatever you want." Lily tugged my sleeve, confused. "Why are we moving, Daddy?" I crouched beside her, swallowed the knot in my throat. "They just want one without us, sweetie. It's okay. But I'm family," she said quietly. And in that moment, I think something inside me shattered. Because she was family. She was my daughter. The only good thing to come out of a broken marriage. The reason I worked 12-hour shifts. The reason I kept going when everything else fell apart. And these people, the ones who were supposed to love her unconditionally, were treating her like an extra, like a plus one. I stood up, walked right over to the camera, and said, "We're done." Everyone turned. Vanessa frowned. "What? We're done?" I repeated. "Lily and I are leaving. You can take all the pictures you want without us." My mom stood up, panicked. "Caleb, don't make a scene." "No," I said louder this time. "I'm not making a scene. I'm making a choice." Vanessa scoffed. "Oh, come on. Don't be childish." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Childish? You excluded my daughter from a birthday, from a dinner, and now from a photo. She's 8, Vanessa. What's your excuse?" Silence. Real silence this time. No one moved. No one defended me. Not even my dad. I turned to Lily, picked her up, and said, "Let's go get pancakes." She nodded, wrapping her arms around my neck. As we walked away, I heard Vanessa mutter something behind us. Couldn't quite make it out. But I didn't care. Because I was done waiting for this family to love us properly. And I had no idea the real betrayal hadn't even happened yet. Lily didn't say a word on the drive home. She sat in the back seat with her knees hugged to her chest, chin resting on them, watching the blurred trees slip by outside the window. I checked the rearview mirror more times than I could count. Her face didn't change once. No tears. No questions. Just silence. The kind that clings to you. When we got home, I made her favorite breakfast for dinner, banana pancakes with extra chocolate chips and whipped cream shaped into a smiley face. She picked at it for a few minutes before finally asking, "Why doesn't Aunt Vanessa like me?" I sat down across from her, completely still. I'd practiced how to answer this in my head on the drive. Tried to word it like a grown-up. Tried to soften the edges. But looking into her eyes, all that effort just melted. "She doesn't not like you, sweetheart," I said carefully. "She just doesn't always understand how to treat people the right way." Lily stared at her plate. "She treats Emma nice. And everyone else." I nodded slowly. "Yeah, she does. But that's not because of anything you did. You've never done anything wrong." She looked up, her voice so small it nearly broke me. "I don't think I want to see them anymore." That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. The weeks after the beach trip were quiet. Too quiet. No one reached out. Not to me. Not to Lily. No check-in. No, "Are you okay?" Not even from my parents. You'd think if a family member stormed off mid-vacation, someone would call. But in our family, silence was the punishment. They didn't yell. They didn't argue. They just erased you from the picture. And truthfully, that hurt more. I started second-guessing myself. Was I overreacting? Had I made it worse than it was? Should I have stayed quiet for Lily's sake? It didn't help that the restaurant was struggling. We were still recovering from a slow spring, and now with summer ending, the tourist crowd was thinning out. My manager, Tony, quietly told me we might need to cut back staff hours. A couple suppliers were late on invoices, and the oven in the back kept shorting out. The little things started piling up. One night after closing, I stayed late doing inventory alone. The dining room was dark, chairs flipped on tables, the soft hum of the fridge the only sound in the place. I sat at the corner booth where Lily and I usually shared lunch on Saturdays and just stared at the reservation book. Empty pages. Blank squares. I felt something collapse inside me. Like all the strength I'd been pretending to have finally caved. That was the night I cried. Not a single tear, not a quiet sniffle, but full-on, shoulders shaking, gut-wrenching crying. The kind of cry you try to bury under work and bills and daily routines, but it finds its way through anyway. I buried my face in my hands and let it come. No one was there to see. No one would have cared if they had. I didn't cry because of Vanessa. I cried because I realized I had spent years chasing the approval of people who only showed up when it was convenient. I'd bent over backwards trying to prove I was a good father, a good son, a good brother. And for what? So they could treat my daughter like a footnote? No, no more. That night, I pulled out my phone and started going through my contacts. One by one, I deleted the names that hadn't texted Lily happy birthday. The ones that didn't reach out after the beach trip. My cousin who shared Vanessa's Instagram post, but never once sent Lily a card. Gone. My uncle who always meant to come by, but somehow never had the time. Gone. It was cleansing. When I got to my mom's number, I hesitated. But only for a second. Then I deleted hers too. I didn't tell Lily any of this. I just let things shift naturally. I started showing up more. Not just physically, but emotionally. I listened more. I took her to the bookstore every weekend and let her pick out whatever she wanted. We started volunteering at the animal shelter on Sundays. We got caught in a rainstorm one afternoon, and instead of rushing home, we danced in it like lunatics. I poured everything I had into being her safe place. And slowly, I started to feel okay again. Funny thing about hitting rock bottom, it gives you something to push against. That fall, the restaurant got a small feature in a local magazine. One of our regulars had written in about our house-made pesto and the family warmth of our dining room. A photographer came in, took some cozy photos of the place, and Lily even got her picture in the article, grinning proudly in her apron next to a tray of garlic knots. The piece blew up more than I expected. Suddenly, we had new faces walking through the doors every weekend. Locals, tourists, even a couple food bloggers. Word of mouth picked up. Our weekend brunch started selling out. I hired back the staff I'd been afraid to let go. Tony joked that we should name a dish after the article, so we did. The Lily Special. French toast with strawberries and extra whipped cream. Lily beamed every time someone ordered it. And then came the call. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was reviewing the month's invoices when my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to. Caleb, a familiar voice asked. I paused. Vanessa? A beat of silence. Yeah. Hi. My stomach twisted. I hadn't heard her voice in over 2 months. What do you want? I asked flatly. She cleared her throat. Listen, I know things got tense after the beach trip, but I thought maybe enough time had passed. Maybe we could talk. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. Talk about what exactly? She gave a little laugh. Forced. I don't know. Maybe reconnect. There's going to be a baby shower next month. Thought you and Lily might want to come. I didn't answer. And, she added quickly, I was hoping we could do the shower at your restaurant. I laughed before I could stop myself. Wow. You really just went for it, huh? She bristled. Excuse me. Vanessa, you haven't spoken to me or Lily in months. And now you want to throw a baby shower at the place you screamed in the lobby of. That was a moment, Caleb. I was stressed. And emotional. I thought we were past that. No. You thought we could skip past it. There's a difference. Another beat of silence. Then she said something that froze me in place. Well, it's already been paid. Grant sent the deposit through your site this morning. And Mom sent out the invites. So, it's kind of locked in. I sat up straight. You booked it without asking me. I figured you'd come around. I mean, you're not going to make a pregnant woman find a new venue, are you? There it was. The entitlement. The assumption. The way she treated me like a backup plan that would always say yes. I'll refund the payment, I said coldly. You wouldn't dare, she snapped. I already did that once, remember? Don't be vindictive, Caleb. I laughed again. I'm not. I'm protecting my peace. And I hung up. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a new message. It was from her. A screenshot of the baby shower group text. The whole family. My name included at the top. Then a single message under it. He's refusing to host. After everything. Can you believe this? That's when I knew what was coming. The gossip. The backlash. The whisper campaigns. But this time I was ready. Because I wasn't the same person I was a few months ago. I had Lily. I had my restaurant. I had customers who treated us like family more than my own blood ever had. I had something better than revenge. I had power. Real power. And I hadn't even used it yet. I didn't respond to Vanessa's group text. Not to her smug screenshot. Not to the guilt-laced caption. Not even to the handful of wow reactions from the family members who still pretended they didn't know what happened back in July. Instead, I turned off my phone, brewed a cup of coffee, and walked out onto the back patio. Lily was out there already, sprawled on a blanket with her sketchbook, drawing little characters she'd invented. Half princess, half space explorer, with rocket boots and glittery crowns. She looked up, squinting at me in the late afternoon sun. You okay? She asked. Better than I've been in a while, I said, sitting beside her. She nodded thoughtfully, then turned back to her drawing. That was the thing about Lily. She didn't need long speeches or dramatic declarations. She just needed presence. Time. Safety. I'd spent too long trying to create that despite my family. Now, I was ready to create it without them. But first, I had a few things to take care of. The next morning, I called Tony into the office before the lunch rush. Close the restaurant on the 22nd, I said, flipping open the scheduling calendar. He raised an eyebrow. You sure? That's a Saturday. We've got 5 reservations in already. I'll personally refund each of them and comp them a free dessert voucher for the inconvenience. He leaned on the edge of the desk. What's going on? I met his eyes. Family wants to host an event here. I'm going to let them think they still are. He stared at me for a beat, then grinned. You evil, beautiful man, he said, and clapped me on the shoulder. The plan was simple. Let Vanessa walk herself into the trap. I spent the next 2 weeks preparing, not in some cloak and dagger, theatrical way. Just small, intentional steps. Every move designed to look like I wasn't planning anything at all. First, I let the baby shower booking stay live on the site. Technically, Grant had sent a deposit, but through the general event form, not a confirmed contract. That gave me a legal and moral out, and I made sure to keep every detail in writing. A simple, professional email went out to him confirming receipt and stating, date not finalized until venue contract is signed. Pending. He never responded. Second, I got in touch with my cousin Ryan. Ryan was the only relative I hadn't cut off after the beach incident. He was younger, mid-20s, kind of a black sheep. He worked freelance video editing gigs, rode a beat-up motorcycle, and showed up to every family function in band t-shirts. The kind of guy the aunts whispered about, but secretly liked more than they'd admit. Ryan had seen through Vanessa years ago, called her CEO of fake smiles. He also happened to owe me a favor. I'd helped him land a catering job once when he was broke. He never forgot it. "Yo," he said when I called. "You want me to fake crash their baby shower and confess a secret pregnancy? Because I will." I laughed. "Not quite, but I do need your camera." "Go on." I explained the plan. Not all of it, just enough to make him smirk. "You got it," he said. "And Caleb?" "Yeah. Get M." Third, I did something I hadn't done in over a year. I emailed a local food journalist. Back when the restaurant was first getting off the ground, I'd sent a few press releases, hoping for a little attention. Most never replied. But Jules Tran had. She ran a mid-sized blog called Bite and Bright. Smart, sharp reviews, no fluff. Her write-up had brought in a solid chunk of our early clientele. I sent a short message. "Hey Jules, been a while. If you're free on the 22nd, I'd love to invite you to witness something memorable. Can't say more yet. Just trust me, it's worth the trip. Caleb." She replied 6 minutes later. "Now I'm curious. I'll be there." Then came the props. I called in a few favors from friends in the business, florists, bakers, even a local party planner I'd catered events for in the past. I gave them a cover story. I needed to simulate a high-end baby shower for a photography portfolio. I'd pay, of course. But it didn't need to be real, just look real. Beautiful but hollow. Everything from the outside would seem exactly as Vanessa envisioned it. Gold-trimmed plates, sugar-dusted pastries, hand-calligraphed name tags. I even let her choose the color scheme when she sent me a snotty, "Since you're still hosting this," email with 4 Pinterest boards attached. Rose gold and sage green. Classic. Safe. I confirmed the details with a cheerful "of course," and kept the tone polite. Professional. Accommodating. Let them think they'd won. And still, not a word from my parents. That part stung, but it also clarified something for me. They weren't neutral. They weren't trying not to pick sides. They were comfortable being silent as long as Vanessa stayed comfortable being loud. Their silence was their choice. I wouldn't let them forget that. Finally, the last piece of the setup fell into place the night before the 22nd. Lily and I sat on the floor of our living room with markers and craft paper. I told her we were making decorations for a surprise at the restaurant. She didn't ask too many questions, just trusted me. We made signs together. Cut out little hearts. Wrote messages in big block letters. She drew doodles on the corners. We laughed more than we had in weeks. When I tucked her in that night, she kissed my cheek and whispered, "I like when it's just us." I stayed by her bed for a while, watching her sleep. Then I opened my laptop and uploaded one file. A simple, 3-minute compilation. A series of clips I'd quietly taken over the last year. Moments of Lily sitting alone at her birthday table, waving at the door, checking the clock. A shot of the untouched cake. One of her carefully setting the napkins herself. Then, a few snapshots from the beach trip. Lily in her daisy sundress. Her smile fading as we're asked to move out of the photo. My hand on her shoulder. Her confused face. I added one final photo. Lily holding a drawing she made of a family. 3 stick figures. Her, me, and a heart above our heads. I titled the video, "The Invisible Child," and I set it to private. For now. The morning of the 22nd, I arrived at the restaurant early. Tony was already there, polishing glasses. Ryan came in around 9, setting up cameras with hidden tripods, discreet and unobtrusive. Jules showed up an hour later with a small notepad and a raised eyebrow. "This is an event," she said, glancing at the flower arrangements. "But what am I looking for?" I smiled. "Just wait." At exactly 1:06 p.m., Vanessa walked in. She looked radiant in a fitted ivory maternity dress, with soft waves in her hair and a smug glint in her eyes. Grant trailed behind her, carrying a box of party favors. "Oh," she said, looking around. "You did go all out." I nodded. Wouldn't want to disappoint. Guests trickled in. My mom, my dad, aunts, cousins. About 20 people total. Laughter echoed. Champagne poured. The playlist was soft jazz and baby-themed pop covers. Vanessa took her throne, an oversized plush chair draped in pastel tulle, and began accepting compliments like a queen at court. Everything was perfect. On the surface. What she didn't realize, what none of them realized, was that every single element of this event had been controlled. Every chair, every plate, every flower. every camera angle, and none of it was for them. The baby shower unfolded exactly the way Vanessa had envisioned, which was perfect because it made the reveal all the more satisfying. By 2:30 p.m., the room was humming with laughter and clinking glasses. The cake had been cut. The gifts, luxury strollers, organic diaper subscriptions, hand-stitched monogrammed blankets, were stacked like trophies at her feet. Vanessa was glowing with smugness, surrounded by half a dozen women fawning over her. At one point, I saw my mom and dad in the corner, sipping from flutes of sparkling cider. They looked proud, content, as if this, Vanessa in her throne, center of the universe, was the natural order of things. Lily was upstairs, safe in my office. She had a little art station I'd set up, a few snacks, and headphones with one of her favorite movies. She didn't need to be in the room for this. Not yet. At exactly 2:47, I stepped onto the small stage near the back of the room. It was just a raised platform we used for live music on weekends. Today, it held a microphone, a mounted TV, and a discreetly hidden laptop. I tapped the mic gently. "Hi, everyone. Sorry to interrupt." The room quieted. Vanessa turned toward me, blinking. "Oh, are we doing toasts now?" "Something like that," I said, smiling politely. I saw Ryan in the corner, camera rolling. "I just want to take a quick moment," I continued, "to thank you all for coming today, and to say, truly, it's been a pleasure hosting you." A few nods, smiles. Someone clapped politely. "But before we continue," I said, "I thought we'd take a quick look at something. A short video. Only a few minutes." I gestured to the screen behind me. Vanessa tilted her head. "What video?" I didn't answer. I just tapped the laptop. The screen lit up. It opened with soft piano music and a date in the corner. July 12th, Lily's 8th birthday. The first clip played. Lily, in her birthday dress, adjusting her little handmade banner, smoothing her curls nervously. The next clip showed her sitting by the door, looking out the window, legs swinging. Clip after clip rolled, her checking the time. Her staring at the empty driveway. The cake sitting untouched. A quiet sob echoed from the speakers. Her own voice, almost inaudible. "Maybe they're just late." Then came a photo of the cake. Still whole. A pink candle unlit. Then the next scene, the beach house. A wide shot of the group gathered on the sand. Everyone in white and blue. Vanessa standing in the center. Then the soundbite. Clear, crisp. "Actually, can we just get the immediate family for this one first? Like, Mom, Dad, me, Grant." A still frame of Lily's confused face followed. Then the image of her walking away, hand in mine. Finally, the last photo appeared. Lily, alone on her bunk bed, drawing a picture. 3 stick figures. Her, me, and a heart. Then the title faded in. The Invisible Child. Silence. No music. No narration. Just a white screen and the quiet hum of the AC vent in the room. I stepped back up to the mic. "Some of you may not have realized," I said calmly, "how many times this little girl was overlooked, forgotten, treated like she didn't exist. Not just once, not just on her birthday, but again and again." I scanned the room. Several people looked stunned. A few looked away. My mother's hand was covering her mouth. My father looked frozen. "Lily is 8 years old," I continued. "She is smart. She is kind. She made birthday invitations by hand and waited in her dress for 3 hours. No one showed, and no one apologized." I turned to Vanessa. Her face was unreadable, lips slightly parted, color drained. Then we were told we weren't immediate family at a photo shoot we paid part of the rental for. There was a sharp inhale somewhere near the back. "I don't need sympathy," I said, "and neither does Lily. We needed presence. We needed acknowledgement. And what we got was silence." I paused, let it sit. Until today, I reached into my pocket and pulled out a slim envelope. Walked toward Vanessa. Her eyes narrowed. "What's this?" she asked. I handed it to her. "Your invoice. Full catering costs, venue fee, staffing, and media production." She opened it. Her eyebrows flew up. "You're charging me? I gave you the courtesy of pretending this was an event you deserved. I figured the least you could do was pay for it." She blinked rapidly. "Caleb, you can't be serious. This is family." I nodded. "Exactly. That's what makes it so painful." She tossed the envelope on the table. "You are unbelievable. You really hijacked my baby shower to guilt trip everyone." "No," I said evenly. "I hijacked it to tell the truth. and to make sure my daughter never again feels like she has to earn the love of people who were supposed to give it freely. Grant finally spoke, voice low. This is out of line, man. I turned to him. You paid a deposit. You didn't sign a contract. I kept the event live to honor your booking, but I'm under no legal obligation to waive the full costs. You want to fight it, you can. I have everything in writing. Vanessa was fuming now. You think anyone's going to come back here after this? You think humiliating your family in front of everyone is going to help your little restaurant? I smiled gently. You're right. I turned to the crowd. I don't expect everyone to understand or approve. But if even one person here sees Lily a little differently now, if even one of you chooses not to be silent next time, you're welcome at my table. If not, well, then I guess this restaurant just got a little quieter. I walked off the stage. The silence was deafening. And then, Ryan clapped. Slow, deliberate. Then Jules. Then a couple of others. By the time I reached the kitchen, half the room was applauding. The other half was staring holes into their napkins. I didn't care either way, because Lily was waiting for me upstairs. When I walked into the office, she looked up from her drawing. All done. I nodded. All done. Can I come down now? Soon, I said. Just need to clear a few things. That night, after the event, I posted the video on the restaurant's official page. Captioned it with, not all families are created equal, but some truths deserve to be told. It went viral. Within 24 hours, it had over 200,000 views. People flooded the comments. Parents, teachers, even strangers, sharing stories of kids who'd been treated like afterthoughts. Orders at the restaurant tripled. We had to set up a waiting list. Customers asked to meet Lily. Some brought her little cards, toys, even thank you notes. And as for the family, my parents showed up a week later. They didn't make it past the front door. Tony stopped them gently and said, reservations only. Vanessa tried calling. I blocked her. Aunt Mel emailed. I never opened it. I had nothing left to say. Some bridges don't burn. They rot. And the only way forward is without them. Lily and I went on a weekend trip shortly after. Just the two of us. Mountains. Cozy cabin. Hot cocoa. She brought her sketchbook and started drawing new characters. One of them looked suspiciously like me, with a chef's hat and a shield. What's that? I asked. She grinned. It's a knight. He protects the people who matter. I looked out at the pine trees, the sky turning pink with dusk. I like him, I said. We sat in silence for a while. Then she looked at me and said, are we going to be okay now? I nodded. We already are. And that was the last time I ever let someone treat my daughter like she was invisible.